Give us your takeaways from last night's loss in Carolina.
Well, obviously they weren't able to accomplish that, and the Carolina played a great game. The Caps played a pretty solid game, but they weren't able to do that. So it was a solid game all the way around, and I just look at a couple little errors or mishandles, miscues here and there, a little bit ugly on the power play. But Carolina was able to feed off their crowd once again, which has been absolutely amazing, and I think great for hockey. But the Caps just couldn't get back into it once they gave up the lead.
How are the Hurricanes disrupting specifically the power play? Like you mentioned, it's looking a little bit choppy, tough for the Caps to get the puck in the zone and get it set up. What are they doing specifically to confound the Caps power play at this point?
Well, the big thing last night was Kuznetsov just wasn't making great decisions on getting the puck inside the zone, and he was making perfect decisions Saturday night at Capital One and getting the puck in every time from the start. And they had so much more zone time in that game. Last night it was very disjointed on getting in, some soft plays, and just bad decisions. And I don't know if he was overwhelmed by the crowd noise and what was going on last night, but he wasn't sharp on that. And therefore, even when they did get it in, he wasn't making good decisions. So it was just more a matter of not getting the puck in the zone on those entries. And when you can't do that, obviously you're not going to get any high-danger opportunities and great looks for Ovi.
Are there other ways that they can initiate the power play?
Yeah, play at home and do exactly what they did. Well, it is because they read off of their boards very well. And, the puck wasn't moving off the boards last night. And it sounds like an excuse, but in the hockey world, it's something that you do count on a value is how the puck ricochets off the board. And that's why you have a home ice advantage. And you get to learn all the nuances, the crooks and crannies of your building. And I expect a lot better result if they do get power plays, depending on who the referees are going to be in Game 7. And we know how atrocious NHL officiating is in a Game 7. So it'll be interesting to see who they stick the Caps with. Hopefully it's not Dan O'Halloran. And hopefully they call penalties that are penalties for both teams.
Speaking of the officiating, what were your takeaways on the Orlov embellishment and the biggest play of the game or non-play, Ovi following up Kuzi's stuff attempt, and it was ruled a non-goal?
Well, the Orlov thing was absolutely disgusting, and I couldn't believe the guy called it. It happened in front of me. When you get twisted around like that, that's not an embellishment. His skates got separated the way they did, and it's just a bad call, kind of a chicken crap call by the referee to call that one. That was a safe play. That was an absolute hook, 100%. There should have been no embellishment. It should be one or the other, not both. And certainly, to me, it was a hook. And then you get back to the Ovi thing. We see now how hypocritical that ruling goes from game to game. There's no consistency. And as I said the last time I was on, the time before that, is the number one thing that's consistent in the NHL is the inconsistency of the Department of Player Safety and their rules on non-goal calls or whatever you want to call it. So we'll see that completely go the other way the next time it happens.
Aren't these supposed to be the best referees? I mean, I don't know how they grade them in the NHL, but in the playoffs in the NFL, these are the best guys that have graded out in the regular season. How do they botch calls like that?
Well, I don't know. It happens every year, though. So it's one of those things that we continue to see happening. And it's I'm in line at the airport, guys. If I'm making a lot of noise here.
Do your thing.
But anyways, it's boggling because they start to get rid of the old referees during the season. They put them on the retirement lap, and they go and they end up getting rid of them. So you know what? It's just I don't know if it's too fast for the guys but right now I'm not a big fan.
I don't want to backtrack too much, but that embellishment call, which none of us sort of understood, is that a common call? How common is that call?
Haven't seen it in the playoffs yet, I don't think, and it's just to me, it's a ref that doesn't have confidence in himself and making the right decision and taking the easy way out. There's no way that should have been made, and I won't change my opinion on that now or in 10 years from now. It was absolutely a one-way penalty, not a two-way.
Now, Ovi seems to be playing out of his mind, right? Most people seem to be thrilled with how he's playing.
Absolutely. He's in super freak mode. He's bringing it every game, and I expect the way he played in Game 5, he didn't want to come back here and lose the series. In Game 6, he knew they had to win that game, and he went out with the 11 hits, a goal, 2 assists. I look at everything he did in that game, the block shots. He's showing incredible leadership. And everyone needs to follow, and I expect him to be even better in Game 7 than he was last night or the other night in Game 5.
Now, how much is the ice factoring in this? Everybody's saying the ice is crappy there. It's bumpy, that sort of thing. You know, it seemed like the Caps were on the wrong side of puck luck there last night. I'm not sure it was because of the ice, but how much of a factor is that?
Well, it's just one of those things. When it's your bet, when it's in your arena, it's normally your bad ice, and you're used to it, and the boards and everything, guys, that goes along with it. And people that don't skate or haven't played at the highest levels don't get it. It is a valid excuse. They are having a tough time with it. They aren't getting the bounces they want. And you look at the Jonas Stiegenfeller going into the end boards, and his stick gets caught in the boards and rips his stick back, and he's unable to recover, and they score a goal by Teravainen. So just those little things like that seem like they happen in other teams' buildings, not so much in yours.
So how do you like him in Game 7? We know how the home teams have performed in this series, but we also know that the Caps' sort of troubled history in the last 10, 11 years or so in Game 7s at home. I believe we have them tracked as 2-5 in Game 7 situations in home since 2008.
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. You got to win the one game. It's a one-game elimination. I put none of the history. The players don't use it. They get sick of hearing about it. When I look back the last Game 7 they had against Tampa Bay last year, they walloped them. They absolutely dominated on the road. So you just throw that out. Every season is its own thing. Every playoff series is its own. And I just look at what the Caps have to do in that game, and it's going to have to be, just come out and dominate from the open. Don't go just 1-0, get up 2-0, and keep your foot in the gas pedal the entire time and force their will upon the Hurricanes. Yes, I do. And, I was apprehensive going into yesterday. I didn't have the greatest of feelings, but, I still believe that Ovechkin, all the best players are on the Capitals. Best defenseman is on the Caps. The best goaltender is the Caps. Always the best shooter player in the series. Nicky Backstrom will be a strong game. And the biggest thing that I'm hopeful for is that the coaching staff and the teammates of Evgeny Kuznetsov build his confidence up and make sure that he's ready to play and give them the strongest performance of the series for himself. And they definitely need him, because if you go up and down the roster and you look at, number 1 center is Backstrom, number 2 is Kuznetsov, then you go to Lars Eller, and then Nick Dowd. The Caps are better in all 4 of those spots. So I'm just thinking that they have to be the team that's got to win this game with what they have and have everyone firing.